Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. This is the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. Tonight is going to be a really fun show. We've got breaking news that I just heard about. You just got to stick around to later in the show to hear it, but you're going to want to hear it. This is phenomenal stuff. I have with me tonight a good friend and long time Bourbon Turntable guest, Jason Brauner. Jason, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Kevin. Thanks so much for having us.
Love having you on all the time. And we have a new guy, rookie. He's getting his first shot at the turntable. Ethan Spalding. Ethan, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
Well, we'll get more into introducing Ethan to the audience and catching up with Jason and all the amazing things they've got going in just a second. First, we want to tell you about our show, Bourbon Turntable. If you are watching on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button, and we would love it if you could just join us every time. You can also listen to us on your favorite podcast platform, as long as it's Apple, Spotify, or Google. Also want to tell you about the Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who produce content for the whiskey enthusiast. Shows like Distillers Talk with Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. Alan and Christy will talk with distillers from across the country and around the world about anything and everything in terms of distillation. Alan also has a show called One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. If you're a distiller, you got a question about something, you run into a problem, send a message to Alan. He'll post a video response, and we all can learn from your curiosity. Another show Alan has is called If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. This show departs from the whiskey world and gets into the spiritual and the supernatural and the weird and the unusual, UFOs, Bigfoot, religion, history, you name it. Alan kind of gets into it on that one. My Whiskey Den with Pat, Mike, and Mitch airs every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. My Whiskey Den is where craft whiskey is king. Be sure to tune in. They've got great tastings that they do. They have wonderful guests, and it's always fun to hang out with the folks in the chat. And finally, David Levine and Whiskey in My Wedding Ring. David has a podcast where he interviews distillers, and he has a blog where he posts reviews, and they're always, always very, very good. So enough of that. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one for a while. And I want to give Ethan a chance to introduce himself and talk about what he does. But before he does that, let's pour a bit of this Kentucky whiskey, which you can see is very, very
I have
clear.
the unlabeled bottle, right? That's my kind of key there.
Yes, that's the best bottle.
You're right.
An unlabeled bottle or one with masking tape on it. You've got something in your hand there. But before we start talking with Ethan, Jason, tell us what's in our glass right now.
So we, when I decided to get into the whiskey business, we were going to start a big, huge distillery and didn't end up doing that. So we're sourcing whiskey, but instead of being a non-distilling producer, whatever,
right?
We kind of backed our way into it. I went down to Vendome, and actually, I used to work at Vendome. I was a welder down there, and know Mike and Rob pretty well, and kind of looked around to see what we could buy, and we bought a doubler, and that whole secondary distillation part of it. So I kind of I'm pretty sure that Whistle Pig got started in on doubling stuff from Canada and wherever. Mm-hmm. So this was an easy way, a cheaper way to get into the distilling industry when we didn't have to do the fermentation, the cooking, the first distillation. So we don't have a column still. We've got a 75-gallon pot still that we do secondary distillation in. Mm-hmm. And Ethan is our man down there, and we physically cut the heads, hearts, and tails. It's the coolest thing in the world. and we're kind of backing our way into this. You know, I mean, if anybody knows our brand, we're very transparent about what we do. We source our whiskey, and we're all about maturation. So we do source our whiskey, and the secondary barreling, everything that we do is double oaked, double barreled. We didn't put that on the label because I didn't really want to use it as a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
But because at some point we're not going to be double barreled, we are going to be single barreled with our Char One, and we have a kind of a signature toasted barrel Char One barrel. So anyhow, that's kind of where we're at now, and Ethan is doing our secondary distillation and doing a great job with it. And like I said, the funnest part of that is cutting the heads, hearts, and tails manually. It's so cool.
Yeah. Well, so Ethan, we know where you are, but let's talk about how you got there. Give us a little background about yourself. Where were you born, where you grew up, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I was born in a town called Lebanon, Kentucky. It's right in the heart of Kentucky. If you look at a map of it, it's pretty much dead center of the map. So Lebanon, Kentucky is obviously home to a lot of different bourbon-related products. You got Loretta, Kentucky, which is Maker's Mark. You got Lebanon, Kentucky, which is Limestone Branch. They make a lot of different products. And then you also have Lebanon, Kentucky as Independent Stave Company. So they are the Kentucky cooperage of Independent Stave Company. So Independent Stave Company makes a lot of different barrels. They make a lot of barrels for a lot of different companies. Independent Stave Company and the Kentucky cooperage makes a lot of barrels for the mass producing products. That being stated, my dad works for Independent Stave Company, Chad Spalding. He works as the sales manager for a lot of the different small brand craft companies that you think of, anywhere from Washington State all the way down to Florida, the state. And he handles anybody and everybody in between there. So for the longest time, you know, he did a lot of work for Independent Stave Company. So he worked anywhere between the starting production all the way until the end, and now he's into the sales production of that. I thought that's what I was going to do. I thought I was going to be a sales manager for Independent Stave Company. So I worked at Independent Stave Company for about 4 months and did the entire process from start to finish, from starting your barrel until the end of barrel, and even into shipping the barrel out on a semi truck. So my dad works for them. I always thought that's what I was going to do in the industry. And my granddad is currently the master distiller at Bardstown Bourbon Company. So he started his gig out as the janitor at Maker's Mark, and then went from there and became the master distiller at Maker's Mark for about 15 years. He retired in 2003. Went from there and started a company called Wyoming Whiskey. If you heard of Wyoming Whiskey, any of his wheated products, that's what you've heard of.
Yep.
And then he retired again and came to Bardstown Bourbon Company. So he is in his third retirement of the whiskey industry, and he's doing really well right now. So a lot of distilling industry and bourbon industry in my blood. So I've talked to my dad a ton about different barrel industry, and my granddad a ton about different distilling industry. So with Buzzard's Roost, it was kind of a marriage of the two. So, you know, we do a ton with the barrel. So we age product, you know, double oaking and whatnot. So I learned a ton about the barrel industry and that aging process, and then also with the distilling industry. Learning a lot with my granddad and just kind of talking to him about different things that we do down at Buzzard's Roost, and kind of learned a lot on my own. And so that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I'm guessing you didn't answer one ad in the newspaper to find the job that you've got. So, Jason, how did you find Ethan? Or Ethan, how did you find Jason?
You know, we had started our company in 2019. And we were just doing what we do, and we're very transparent about what we do. We source aged whiskey from MGP right now in Indiana. We ship it to Bardstown Bourbon Company. We rebarrel everything in our proprietary barrels. But in that point, we were talking with Chad, who is Ethan's father. We were also talking with Andrew Webrink, who designed our barrels. And so we have 17 proprietary barrels that we've developed with the help of Independent Stave, with the help of Andrew Webrink, that we secondary agent. So just from knowing those guys, Ethan was available. And with his lineage, and we read his resume, and he fit the bill, so it was just a match made. It was unbelievable that his father, and he's had such a lineage, but also had the experience that we really couldn't find out there that we wanted. And so we feel like it was a match made in heaven, and we think the results are pretty good.
Yeah. So just so far, are you happy, Ethan? Just kind of an HR check-in. Does everybody treat you well? And
well, besides Jason, everybody's great, but no, Jason is great.
Ethan runs the place, so
no, that is not true in the slightest.
I'm on the road a lot, but he runs the place. So.
Yeah,
no, Jason and the crew have been great.
Yeah, we all have a common goal, and Kevin, it's to make the best whiskey on the planet.
Yeah,
absolutely.
With what we, the hand we're dealt, and we're gonna, we're kind of gonna back our way into this thing. I think we've gotten a lot of awards for what we're doing, and I think the future holds a big game for Buzzard Roost, because we are all passionate about what we do.
Yeah, and that shows. Yeah. That shows from day one till today. The team that you've surrounded yourself, Jason, that you and Judith have surrounded yourself with, they seem to be very committed to what you're doing. They bought in to your vision, and that speaks to the leadership that you and Judith have, and the vision that you've cast for it.
Well, it's a daily thing, but we hope that they believe in the dream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You said something about awards, and I saw this today, so I need to know what this is.
Look at that handsome guy, man, and he's sharp.
Look at this guy. So what's going on here, Ethan?
Yeah, so I got nominated for a Rose Award, which is a hospitality and kind of industry award for Louisville in particular.
Yeah.
And we got nominated, me and our very, very, very talented bartender, Sarah Powers.
Mm-hmm.
We got nominated both for a Rose Award, and I ended up making it as a finalist. And we came and took our picture a couple of days ago. And, I wish I'd have fixed that little curl on my hair, but that's why I'm wearing a hat today.
Well, it's kind of the Superman look.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I'm looking for the
or Charlie Brown if you didn't have
Charlie Brown. So. Well, that's more like it, because Charlie Brown, he misses the football, and that's kind of me in my life. No, it's a super, super prestigious award that I am so glad to even just be a nominee for, and to make it as a finalist is just amazing. So I really appreciate the Rose Awards for kind of making me a finalist in that, and I'm looking forward to that event on November 20th.
Now, is this a thing that the public votes, or how does this work?
Yeah, absolutely. So the public can vote on that starting October 10th.
Okay.
You can vote until October 18th, and the public can go to the Louisville Rose Awards website and submit their email, and you can vote once a day from what I hear.
Okay.
And that is something you won't get any spam email or anything for.
Right.
So it's a great cause to go towards the Rose Awards in general, but towards me, it'd be a little bit more appreciative.
Yeah.
So that'd be a great thing to vote for.
Yeah. Well, we'll promote that heavily for you. Now it should, I should be able to decide. I mean, it's my last name. I'm Louisville Rose. I should be able to.
Right.
I should be able to decide. But
Yeah.
I don't know that they would see it that way.
It's actually called the Kevin Rose Award.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
You'd win hands down. There'd be no. It wouldn't be a close second. Let's talk about what's in our glass here, guys. This is lovely. Unaged whiskey off the still at 115 proof. Is that right?
115.
There's obviously you get, what's the mash bill on this? You guys remember?
This is a 70-21-9 mash bill, so it's going to be 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley, which is a little bit different from what our aged product is right now. But it's certainly a great mash bill. I mean, this has just got such a great nose to it.
I mean, you obviously get the sweetness of the corn, but there's like a little butterscotch in there, maybe.
Yep.
It's a little. To me, it's a little grainy, obviously from the corn and the raw distillate before it goes into the barrel. But I mean, this is some of the best distillate that I've heard. Not only myself because I'm biased, but a lot of other people have said it's really a great distillate.
Yeah.
It's one of the most clean ones that I've tried in my short span in the industry. I'm really proud of it.
So will some of this same mash bill be going into barrels?
Absolutely.
Already?
Already in barrels. We're almost a year into our barrels and with this distillate. Like Jason,
we had a date. We went down on Valentine's Day and barreled about 35 barrels or whatever. And that's our first distillate that went into our Char 1 barrels. So to me, it was a ultimate day, and it was Valentine's Day, so it was great.
Well,
which is Ethan's grandmother.
Yep. So my grandmother, who is now passed on, her birthday was on that day, and it would just make the most sense because she is the sweetest heart that you'd ever met in your life.
And actually, my father's birthday is on Valentine's Day.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a really special day for everybody in the family.
Sure. Yeah. Mine's a few days after, if that means anything.
Mine is too. Mine's a few days after in December.
That is a few days. But no, this is terrific. The thing that I want to be able to do is have some of this, and then when you release it, or it as you're aging it, you've got something that you can go back to as, okay, here's where we started, here's where we are. And from that, you can really, I mean, you guys are all about the barrel, so you can really test that barrel effect. I mean, even if you wanted to do something like little 375s along the way of, okay, here it is at 1 year, here it is at 2 years, 3 years, whatever, and then put that together as a set.
I think we'll do that. I mean, we've talked about that to where to see, because it's not really, I don't want to say it's technology, but it's just the research that we've done to see our white whiskey or white dog go from 1 year to 2 year to 3 year to 4 year, because we have some experiments down now that show what our barrels really do, and it's amazing with the Char 1 and the heavily toasted.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm excited about that, and I'm glad you guys are doing it. And I know this is a step that you've wanted to take basically since you started, Jason, and so just congratulations on that. This is a big move ahead for you all, and
we'll see what comes out the other side. But
well, you're starting in a good place. Okay,
Yeah,
you're not just saying, okay, we've got to count on the barrel to save this,
Mhm.
which I think some people end up doing.
Well,
But you're
know,
counting, you're letting the barrel affect something that's already good.
Mhm.
So you're
right.
money ahead
And,
there.
and that's what the main thing I learned from Jim Rutledge is he said you can't put in, you have to start with good ingredients. You have to start, a barrel's not going to save you, even though it's 70%. If you've got bad whiskey in there, a good barrel's not going to save you.
Yeah.
So you have to
Mhm.
start with good ingredients, good processes, yeast and all that. You know, I have to tip my hat to me listening and paying attention to Jim Rutledge, a man that always said that you have to
Yeah.
start with good ingredients, and we do. And I think we're finishing it better than anybody has ever finished it in the world, really. With the data we have, with the char ones and the heavily toasted, it's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for your first bad product. So I don't think it's coming at this point. If it hadn't happened yet, I don't think it's going to happen.
We keep waiting for that shoe to drop, but it hasn't yet.
No, it's been kind of a straight line up for you guys for 5 years. So I want to make sure here in the show, and we'll talk about this again at the end. So I just want to, Jason, if you want to tell everybody where they can find Buzzard Roost on social media.
You know, we have Instagram, Facebook, and we have our website. Hopefully they're doing a good job. I mean, Ethan and I are working on the whiskey, and I'm traveling, selling it. But hopefully, I'm not very tech savvy, so I hope the internet guys are taking care of us.
Well, I know a lot of times when I'll post something that I'll get a direct message on Instagram. Hey, thank you for your post. Can we share that? Yes. I mean, I keep saying anything I post, it's fair game. So go for it.
I'm still learning how to post, but we'll get there.
I know you can post stuff on Instagram. So this is a big year for Buzzard Roost because I believe it was July, marked the 5-year anniversary for Buzzard Roost. So as we'll taste something now that is from 2024 because we want to highlight the new stuff. But as we're doing that, we'll talk about some of the history. So let's dig into this American whiskey product, and we'll talk about some history and lead ourselves up to talking about American whiskey.
Uh-oh. See what I've got in the arsenal over here.
This is I don't want to say surprisingly good, but I didn't remember how good it was until I tried it again tonight, right before the show. Goodness gracious.
So, you know, Kevin, I think that people are disillusioned by American whiskey, except for I see, you know, one brand that stands out is Michter's American whiskey, and it does very well. And I mean, I don't even know if I know the parameters about American whiskey of what it can be, what it can't be is more or less. But our American whiskey is our bourbon put in our used barrels. And I know we've talked about on here how our barrels are so, you know, they're proprietary to what we do. You know, we have 17 different toast profiles, and we're basically a #1 char. So it's a very big expense because we use our barrels. They're brand new. They're 53 gallons. We use them one time. So we thought, you know, there's other brands. I think the category of American whiskey is coming up, and it's like, well, we could do this with our used barrels, save a little bit of money, and maybe get this on some bar menus and what have you, because obviously what we do, the rebarreling, is very expensive. The double barreling and double oaked is very expensive. So we know what our barrels do. We don't use them We maybe use them for 2 months to a year. So there's still a lot of flavor in there. If you think about a 20-year pappy, whatever, still a
Right.
lot of flavors in our barrels, and we know what the profile is coming out. So why wouldn't we come up with an American whiskey? And I think that category is growing because I know that other brands do very well with it, and that's what we came up with.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of cut the price of it a little bit because we're using used barrels, but we know it's basically our barrel. It's basically our bourbon going into our used barrels. And so we control a lot of what's going on. And I don't know really, like I said, maybe you can help me with this as the parameter of what makes an American whiskey. I think the American consumer is kind of iffy about it.
Yeah. Well,
They
I know
don't
that
what's in there.
right. It's basically, if this were in a new barrel, it would be bourbon, right?
Absolutely. You're
So
right.
it just because it's aged in a second use barrel, that makes it an American whiskey.
Mhm.
Right.
And I mean, this is delicious, and it's at a very reasonable price point. I mean, it's
Mhm.
under $50. And I've given a couple of these away as gifts, and I'm getting low on this one, so I've got to go back. Got to go back by a Whiskey Row and pick up another. But this, I get like a little cherry Coke note on it and vanilla wafers.
It's definitely got some cherry on it, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Kind of stone fruit.
yeah, some like roasted nuts, maybe. There's something creamy in there, like an Oreo filling or something.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I always tell people downtown it's like it's a bourbon soaked bourbon.
A bourbon soaked bourbon.
Because we put in a used secondary used bourbon barrel, and
Yeah.
it comes out as a bourbon from MGP. And so
Yeah, it's just delicious. So you guys started 5 years ago. I remember the event there on Frankfurt Avenue, and that was very exciting. And what you guys have been able to do, you're just getting your legs under you, and then COVID hit. And one of these bottles back here is actually one that I came by Bourbon's Bistro and picked up, and you signed it, and it's dated 2020. And just you guys being able to navigate that and stay on the path towards success that you have is quite remarkable. But what are the things in your mind, Jason, that were the key points to the success you've had over the 5 years?
Well, I mean, for this brand, and then, like I said, I think what warmed me up for this is being in the restaurant business for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
that you have to be very stubborn. Because if you look at the downturns from, all the economic downturns, and then you look at COVID, what it did to the restaurant industry alone, just crushing.
Yeah.
So, we were sowing our oats. We love it, but I think at the end of the day, Kevin, it's there's a lot of people that, and I'm not bad talking anybody. I think more industry stuff more brings more people to the bourbon category is great.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people out there that were trying to make fast money, and that's fine. It's not a big deal. But we really, really care about what's in the bottle. I mean, we go over the top.
Yeah.
And I drive that from the restaurant business because I really care what goes out. I get discouraged about, one bad meal. So that carried over for me to the whiskey industry and I've tasted a lot of great whiskey over the years. We'll be 20 years April, and here at Bourbon's Bistro, and I've sat with the best of the best.
Yeah.
I've I've been in their warehouses and thiefed out of the best to buy their single barrels and talk with them during bourbon dinners or whatever. So I've got their stories, and I think all that information that I've taken in, that I put that into my whiskey and our whiskey, and I really honestly want to make the best whiskey in the world, and I really care about what's in the product, what's in the bottle, and it's just not some kind of business venture. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not some kind of, oh, I'm here to make money. I'm not. I'm here to make good whiskey. I mean, hopefully the money will follow.
Right.
I can afford to pay my bills.
Right.
But I care about what's in the bottle.
Well, with what you guys have done,
well,
I'm sorry, say it again, please.
I think our team does as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, we could all go make money somewhere else. And It's a slow process. It really is. It's a slow process building a brand. Building a brand, and when you're surrounded by giants. I mean, you're surrounded by giants.
Right.
And I love to be the underdog, and I want to put the best whiskey in the bottle I can, and that's my first concern.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure, like most brands, that you probably could have sold off and made some money a few times along the way. There've probably been some offers that have flowed in, but the fact that you're committed to fulfilling the vision that you've got, that's wonderful. And as somebody that I consider you a friend, I'm excited for you and your business and what you're doing. But as someone that is a fan of whiskey, I appreciate the dedication and intentionality and the attention to detail that you put into it, because it shows. It definitely shows.
I'm absolutely stubborn about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're a very easygoing type A personality, because you come across very affable and friendly, and you are. But then I can also, just watching you in the room, sometimes I can see your brain turning, and you're just looking at something and it's just not quite right, and it bothers you. And so that's a really good balance. It's a really good balance.
Well, for some reason, people call me passive aggressive, and I'm not. I don't think I'm passive aggressive. Like, I want it to be right, and then I look at this word passive aggressive. Do you want me to be aggressive?
Aggressive. That's the other option, right?
Right. That's your other option. Like, I'm going to be aggressive. So let's just get it right.
Yeah.
Let's work together.
Yeah.
And if that's passive aggressive, then I'll own it.
Yeah.
But I think we all on our team, and Ethan will tell you, we're working towards the same goal.
Yeah. Your partner in all of this is Judith, and Judith Hollis Jones. And one time I was at the Whiskey Row location and was talking with her, and we were just talking about the strides that the brand has made over the years, and said, does it surprise you at all? She says, no, not a bit. This is exactly what we knew we were supposed to do. And just that confidence was impressive to me. How have you and Judith worked together over the years, and how has that been part of the formula for success?
Well, I mean, Kevin, it's like any marriage, whether it's in any of my businesses that I've had before. I maintain great relationships with who I've had, but there's struggles. They're very different struggles. I think Judy and I work well together because we're almost kind of, and I always say yin and a yang.
Mm-hmm.
like she's very corporate. That needs.
Mhm.
She comes from the corporate background, and she has a great. She comes from the food corporate background.
Mhm.
So we both come from food. We both love whiskey, and it's like she's more the corporate side, and I'm kind of more the obviously the passive aggressive, laid back side. But I think we work very well together, and it's just to me it's a great partnership. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to have, like I said, you have to have the yin and the yang, and
Yeah.
and that's how it goes. And I'm not saying whether she's a yang or I'm a yang. It's who's
I think
who.
I
We
think people
both.
would probably say you're the yang. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, she does the stuff I don't want to do, and I
Yes.
do the stuff she doesn't want to do, and
That's
it works
perfect.
out great.
That's perfect.
It works out great.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So, Ethan, do you get different marching orders from the two of them, or is everybody on the same page?
For the most part, everybody's on the same page. I mean, it's like mom and dad. I mean, you find different things from everybody else. I mean, I get orders from both of them, and it's most of the time the same thing, just in different words.
Yeah.
So no, I.
So being like
Jason's
mom
great.
So being like mom and dad. So if you go ask Jason if you can try something and he says no, do you go ask her and see if she says yes?
Well, most of the time it's I ask her, and if she says no, I go ask him.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So when you started, you had a single barrel and a 2-barrel small batch, if I remember correctly, Jason.
That's correct.
And now I think this is the different standard brands that you have. Is that right?
Well, some of those are LTOs, which is limited time offering.
Yeah.
And we're starting to, we're listening to our salespeople, and the bourbon industry has gotten a little bit soft. So, and we love to offer, because what we're doing is cutting edge. I like to have everything, something for everybody's palate out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go do tastings, they all don't focus on one. Like this is the best. We have everything that kind of focuses towards different palates. So we understand that that's a bit for salesmen. It's a bit for, let's say, liquor stores to carry 6 of our SKUs. So we have 6 main SKUs right now, which is we have 3 ryes and 3 bourbons, and they mirror each other. We have a Char 1 rye, Char 1 bourbon, toasted rye, toasted bourbon, barrel strength rye, barrel strength bourbon. So we try to have something out there for everybody. And then we've got these LTOs as limited time offerings, because we're just excited about what we're doing and all these different flavor profiles.
Yeah.
So we're going to back down our main 6. I think we're at least going to trim it down to 4, if not 3. So, but then we'll have offerings. Like I know, Kevin, you always wanted the toasted barrel in rye in a barrel strength.
Barrel strength. Yep.
So we're going to back down some of these SKUs, be a little bit more efficient in what we're doing, and still offer it, but not in a major scale, because it's a lot for our salesmen to sell, and it's a lot for liquor stores, because there's so many brands. We're competing for space, and that's a lot of space.
Yeah.
You've got six bottles. It looks good on your shelf.
Right.
Yeah, in liquor stores it's tough. So
yeah,
and we understand that. So we're moving with the market, and we're working on it.
So the LTOs would be things like the peated barrel,
Absolutely,
cigar rye.
Cigar rye.
Yeah. We have what about the bottled and bond? Is that going to be a LTO as well, or is that?
Well, it was an LTO, and we're trying to work that into the main system, because it's actually a great seller.
Yeah.
So we're trying to back some stuff out and put the bottled and bond in full rotation.
Yeah. That was a new release this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the cigar rye is a favorite as well. I think we've got batch 3 out right now. When will we see batch 4?
Well, we're working on that. We had a speed bump in the road, and I mean, it would take a while to talk about that. We maybe put that on another episode, but
Okay.
we're working on that.
Yeah.
We've got the 3rd batch out, and if you can find it, I would advise you to pick it up. The 4th batch is in limbo right now, but we're ready to do it when we can pull the trigger. So
yeah, we I've got a little bourbon group. Jason, you've been here before. Ethan, I'd love to have you out sometime, but we meet once a month and just different themes each month. And every now and then I'll just do a 1 bottle thing. Usually there's just tables just full of ridiculous number of bottles. But sometimes I'll say, okay, we're gonna have one, and we're just gonna share that together until it's gone, and then everybody signs the bottle. Recently, I did that with one of the cigar ryes. I put it in a large mason jar, and so nobody knew what it was, and so everybody got to taste it blind and talk about it, and people guessed what it was. But that was a real treat, and everybody loves it. It's just a terrific offering.
yeah.
So Ethan, you've not been on with us before, so I want to talk with you a bit about music.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember your first concert?
I remember my first concert. It wasn't that one that was outside if you just heard that. So my first concert was in 2017. I know that is so long ago, right? 2017. My first concert was Chris Stapleton at Riverbend Park in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Are
you 18 years old or something? 7 years ago. That's nothing.
Almost 24 years old. So I went to that concert. Hadn't really gone to a concert really before until the state fair in Kentucky, and then went to that. I really wouldn't consider that my first because I don't really like the concert that went on.
Yeah.
And then went to 2017 at Riverbend. Chris Stapleton and I loved Chris Stapleton at the time.
Yeah.
So it was like a bucket list item for me at the time. Yeah. And so I remember going to Chris Stapleton first, and it was just like a standard for my concert going this forward.
Yeah. That's a great first one. I love Chris Stapleton. I've kind of docked him a few points for that whiskey he put out at Buffalo Trace, but but we won't get into that now. So that's strong. A lot of times people come up and their first concert was something pretty lame. Do you remember the first album that you ever bought? Well, for you, it wouldn't have been an album. It probably would have been a CD, maybe.
No. So I have a record player at home.
Okay.
And so my first album I ever bought was Purgatory by Tyler Childers.
Okay.
So Tyler Childers is probably one of I would consider idols. And then my uncle, me and him played music all the time together. We played guitar and he played everything else but guitar, banjo, bass, whatever. And he gave me some vinyl records to have, and one of them was Journey. One of them was Fleetwood Mac. Mm-hmm. So I learned a lot of what I would consider inspiration from Fleetwood Mac and Journey and Bob Seger from one of his early albums, and one of the first albums I ever bought was Tyler Childers and Chris Stapleton. So I have that to offer to them.
Yeah. So, but not just a country guy. If you're talking about Journey and Fleetwood Mac, so
Right. Yeah. I'm a classic rock, kind of Southern rock,
yeah,
classic country, that type of guy. Me and Jason have kind of gone back and forth between that before.
yeah. You said you mentioned classic rock, Southern rock. Any bands from that genre that kind of stands out to you that gets on repeat when you're playing?
I mean, of course, Leonard Skinner. I mean, that
course.
is like the basics of Southern rock. And one of my favorites most recently is Blackberry Smoke. Blackberry
Yep.
Smoke is one of my favorites. The Steel Woods. The Steel Woods are on their
Yeah.
last leg of
Yeah.
touring.
Yeah, they're about done.
Yeah, they're about done. They haven't been around for too long, but they are by far one of my favorites of the Southern rock era. One of the newer ones maybe is Whiskey Myers. I
Yeah.
love Whiskey Myers. I've seen them probably half a dozen times or whatever, and
Great.
they're one of my favorites.
Yeah. Jason, have you seen anything new lately? Heard anything new lately that you like? Or what are you listening to now? Jason, you there?
Who, me or?
Yeah, you.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Anything you're listening to now?
Y'all are kind of bouncing off a little bit.
Yeah. So
What am I listening to now? I listen to old, new. I'm telling you, it's weird. I listen to classical in the mornings. I listen to country in the afternoon. I listen to Five Finger Death Punch in the evening, and it's just weird. I listen to everything. I listen to a little bit of everything. But
did you go out to Bourbon and Beyond?
So, I went, but I didn't really hear many bands there.
Yeah.
I had some things going on that I was doing on Sunday, but Sting is Sting. I was a huge Sting fan growing up, especially when he went to, Dream of the Blue Turtles and whatever. And I was still fairly young, I love the Police. And then when he brought, it was kind of a political statement of him bringing black jazz to pop art or pop culture or whatever.
Right.
It was awesome. So if you've ever seen Dream of Blue Turtles, that's a great documentary of him doing that. And it was just, I love all genres of music.
Yeah. Sting touring for that album was my second concert.
Yeah.
And so that goes,
How
that goes
old are
back.
you? You're not, so I'm that much older than you?
No, you're not. I don't think you're older than me at all.
You just were sheltered or something.
Yes. I lived in a very small town, and
Have we talked about my first concert?
Well, tell us again.
The 1980 Derby Eve Jam.
Yes, I remember this.
With Journey and the Babies. Fucking unreal.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Babies today, And then Jonathan Cain left the Babies to play after that tour. Jonathan Cain left the Babies to play keyboards for Journey. And then what's his name? The lead singer of the Babies went on, Jonathan Wade or something, went to his own band. So the Babies split up. The lead singer had like a one-hit album, but Jonathan Cain went to Journey, and that's a done deal.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I didn't go to a lot of concerts growing up when I was younger, and didn't really start going till I was able to drive myself from a small town 30 minutes from Knoxville to drive to Knoxville to go see concerts. So
I hate to bring that up. I was in, I think, 8th grade or 6th grade, but I went with somebody's mom, which was cool. Like we weren't dating or anything. I went with him and his mom.
Well, I would hope when you're in 6th grade, you're not dating one of your friends' moms.
8th grade, you know.
Although I've heard of stranger things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We all had.
So,
I wanted to preface that.
yeah. So I know, Jason, that you play some music. You play instruments and stuff. I've actually had the honor of being in your garage man cave and seeing you playing along. So I know you play, and Ethan, you mentioned playing guitar. So what are we doing about that?
So we are. Jason has a band that he's been playing with for the past couple of years called the Opie's Tackle Box. Am I wrong? Opie's Tackle Box. Yeah. And so we created what I call the Opie's Remastered, because anything New Day is remastered. And so we're taking a little bit of old, a little bit of new. I have recently purchased a Mexican-made Telecaster.
Okay.
Right. So I've always dreamed about owning a Telecaster. So I got my Telecaster, and we got together with him and a couple of his buddies, and we've been playing some old and we've been playing some new.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned a lot about new. I don't know if he's learned about, I've learned a lot about old, and I don't know if he's learned a whole lot about new. But we play some Skinner. That's, like I said, one of my favorites and one of my old time guys, and played some what Jason? Oh, Golden Earring and ZZ Top and.
It's
Tom Petty.
Yeah, it's a mesh of the old and the new.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to Ethan. He's a great guitar player, great singer, and we had a gap in our band. Not the Gap Band, but we had a gap.
That'd be all right, though. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a gap in our band, and we've always wanted. We played on and off for. Since we were in high school. So we just want to get together and jam. We may get out, and I hope that this works out to where we can get out in the city and play some stuff. But we love it. We just love playing.
Yeah.
We do play some old stuff and working on some new stuff. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we're really thrilled about having Ethan in the band, and it's cool, man. It really is.
So is the name the Opie's Remastered, or are we still going with Opie's Tackle Box?
I don't know.
Tackle Box.
Yeah, when we get to showtime, it'd probably just be the Tackle Box, and we'll drop the Opies and whatever.
The playlist we've been playing on is Opie's Remastered, but that's just my kind of turn on it. I'm super down with the Opie's Tackle Box.
Yeah, he's what, 20 years our younger, and we're talking about, when we get together, we're talking about all our ails and illnesses, and the guy had toothache the other day, and I've had kidney stones, and one guy's got a blind eye. It's just a big juxtaposition.
Yeah.
We love the youth of Ethan, and he's a great player. So he's added life to our band.
It's something to look forward to, Ethan.
Yeah.
This is what life becomes.
At least for us. But
yeah. You're making a business decision about whether you want to bend over and tie your shoe. It's just
absolutely.
Just enjoy it while you can. Well, that's great. I love hearing that you guys you got a band going, and look forward to hearing you live somewhere, hopefully soon. And we'll have to make a an event of that. That'll be great. It'll be great. Let's drink some. Let's drink some more. How about that? Now we're talking.
Absolutely.
We're talking about some special releases, and this is one that is definitely special for a whole lot of reasons. And so, tell us about the Kindred collaboration.
So a couple of years ago, well, not a couple of years ago, but April of 23, Buzzard Roost asked me to go and design a barrel that we could double barrel some product in. And, that's kind of our thing. We double barrel or double oak everything that we do. And so went down to Independent Stave Company's research center, which just so happens to be where my father works, Chad Spalding.
Mm-hmm.
He works in the sales department in the research center. So we went to the research center. He was helping me initially just set up and help design this barrel profile that we were doing. It ended up being me and him sitting down and designing this barrel together, which just so happened to to Buzzard's Roost be one of the better barrels that we've put down, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a specific barrel design and barrel toast profile, as well as a barrel char profile that we've put down, ever before, as well as Independent Stave. So they've been around for 114, 115 years, and they have never, ever put these three things that we've ever done together before. So it was a specific design profile inside of the barrel, as well as a specific toast profile and char profile. So those three things together, they've never done before, and just so happened to be that the only barrels that have ever been produced of this product have been between me and my father,
Wow.
Chad Spalding. So I'm very, very, very pleased with what's come about with this product, and I think a lot of people are as well.
Yeah. One of the things that I was really impressed by is that may not be able to see it. You probably can't see it on here, but take my word for it. The names on the bottle are Ethan and his dad, which is great for you and your father. This has got to be something that you probably got a case of, set it, stuck away, hiding it from yourself, like we talked about before. But one of the things that impresses me about this is that it shows Jason and Judy's humility and about it, that they're willing to say, let's, Ethan, you put your name on it. Let's put the Spalding family name on it. And because I don't think there are a whole lot of brands out there that would let somebody else put their name on their brand. And so that's very, very impressive, and it speaks a lot to the things that we've already talked about of Jason and Judy and the kind of people they are, kind of leaders that they are.
Absolutely. They were very generous to let me and my father put our last names on that, and that's a big thing to us. And so we are very, very, very appreciative of what Jason and Judy have let us kind of collaborate on. And I don't think there's any way or anything I can say to let them know that we are so appreciative of what they've done for us. And so, and let us allow to such a great product to go out. So without their, Jason had a big part of blending that product and having a kind of a careful eye over that product. But just being so, humbled to not put such a great name on it. It's such, a great honor to us. It's really unbelievable to how great Jason and Judy are to to me and my family, and just great products in general.
Yeah. So, Jason, what do you get off of this one?
I love this one. I mean, and I love the fact that Ethan and Chad got to collaborate on it, but us three basically made the final decision on it, and I take the back seat on this all day long, and there were some decisions there to be made about what we should do with it, because and us three sat around and drank it, and then some other people got involved, and and then I just said, what do you all want to do? Because I'm cool with this if y'all are cool with this. It's your all's name, even though it's Buzzard Roost name. I trusted them enough to make the decisions, and it just happened, and it was that cool. It was great collaborating with Chad and Ethan, and I just think that I just kind of let them make the final decision because I trusted them, and we kind of overruled some other people, about this is what we need to do, and I'm on their side, and it they both have great palates, and it doesn't matter. I had no concerns over it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here looking at the glass, and I posted about it before, but it just has very thick, oily legs. There's nothing thin to it.
No.
At all.
Yeah, and that's all part of the barrel. I mean, we obviously source a lot of great whiskey, and the barrels that we put them in just make such a big difference. So this specific barrel that we put it in creates a lot of that sweetness and that oakiness that you get from it. Along with that, you get a lot of those great legs. And so, we are kind of like Jason said, he was taking a back seat, but he was also, he's the master blender. Like, what are you supposed to do whenever you say, we bring this whiskey to him, and he's like, you know what? That's pretty great. And so when we take that from Jason's perspective, it's a big honor to us, because my dad personally is a 100 proof or lower drinker, and I'm a 100 proof or higher drinker.
Right.
So for us in Buzzard's Roost, it was great for me, and so I really wanted to do a barrel strength profile for this product, but for us, we 100% agreed all together that this was a better product at 105 proof.
Yeah,
which is great for my dad because it drinks lower than 105, and it's great for me and Jason because it drinks 105 or better for Buzzard Roost and the product. So we were very, very, very pleased whenever we blended this product together to be announcing this as a collaboration together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the flavor profile there, and we tried it at barrel strength, which Ethan and I are a big fan of. Then we cut it, to 105 because we usually don't go any lower than that. And Chad, his dad, was kind of right. I mean, I was like, both of us said, no, that's where it's got to be. We always try to look for the purest flavor of whiskey. And that's where you're going to get it at barrel strength. That's the purest flavor you can do. But at this one, it actually drank much better at the 105. And we had proofed it to a couple of different proofs, I think. And we love the 105. So it's in our wheelhouse, and it was great.
Yeah, I stumbled into Whiskey Row, and you guys were there a couple months ago, and you had sample bottle of this at barrel strength, and I got to try it, and it was great. It was delicious, but it drank hot.
Yeah.
And this you guys have managed to retain a robust flavor, but make it more drinkable, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
you were there when we were back in the back corner.
Yeah.
That's the day we were blending it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we were literally blending it in a what's it called, Jason? You call it it's one of those big totes, one of those big containers.
Oh, the Lexan.
Lexan.
Yeah.
We were blending it in a Lexan, and we were blending all 9 of those. We had every single one of them blended out into a Glencairn, and we thought we were going to do one of them at least at barrel strength and do a single barrel. But it ended up being every single one of them blended so well in that Lexan. We were very, I say appreciative to do it at 105 because it does not drink like a 105 at all.
Yeah.
It drinks kind of a smoother, like 90, 95 proof, but it drinks the finishes as well as a 105 proof for a barrel strength that I like. And it starts out as kind of a 100 or less than my dad likes. So it was just a perfect collaboration that me and Jason and my dad kind of came up with. And if anything is cool with Jason, anything's cool with me. So,
well, there's like an orange spice cake note to it,
absolutely,
and some
very
cinnamon,
sweet on
some brown sugar, and then on the palate, there's like some vanilla frosting that kicks in. The first time I tried it, when I first opened the bottle, it had a bit of oak, a bit more oak than I usually get from Buzzard Roost product. As it's been open for a little bit, some of that oakiness is subsided, and it's about perfection right now. So,
well, Kevin, I think a lot of people don't really realize, with the price point of Buzzard Roost and whatever, and we didn't want to put that on the label, but everything is double oaked, everything. And some people are like, that's a selling point. And to me, I didn't really want to use it as a crutch because I knew we were going to get away from it at some point,
right?
To get into our barrels. But to everybody who's listening, all of our stuff is double oaked. It's re-barreled, and they don't understand. I mean, there's a huge cost in that. But we once again, it falls back to what we do is we're all about what's in the bottle, and we found that our double oaked is different than the other double oak just from the data that we have.
Your double oak is completely different from any other double oak. Your double oak is completely different because most of the other double oaks, whether you're talking about Old Forester or Peerless or Woodford, there's some element of a campfire note to it
because they're double oaking in 3 and 4 char.
Yeah,
and we're double oaking in a heavy toasted number 1 char.
Right, so you're not getting more smoke to it. You're getting more flavor to it because you're relying on the toast.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
soon people will realize that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of same, and those are great products. All of those are great products, but there's a sameness and a similarity between them that you've kind of zigged when they've all zagged, and you're getting I like MGP product, good stuff. They make great whiskey, but what you're barreling and your secondary aging does, it takes it to another level. And a lot of the younger ryes, they'll have like a dill note to it. It just MGP does. Yours don't at all because of the way you treat them.
Yeah, it's all the processing and like I said, I can't say it enough that 70% of the flavor comes from the barrel at least, and we focus on the barrel.
Yeah.
We focus on that where we're getting our flavor, and there is some from the yeast and there's some from the grain, but whatever. If 70% of the flavor comes from the barrel, that's where we're working and kind of reverse engineering it.
Yeah. Even if it is 70%, that 30% makes a huge difference in what the taste and the flavor of the whiskey is.
Well, sure it does.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not discounting it. I'm not discounting the yeast. And then you're talking about out of that 30%, what does the yeast do? What does the grain do?
Right.
I'm not discounting that at all. Believe me, because it could change a whiskey hugely.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, we are so being able to be consistent with our barrels because we see what our barrels do to it.
Right. I mean, you know at this point, if you put this product in this one of 17 proprietary barrels, you know, or you have a good idea what that barrel impact, that secondary aging impact is going to have on the flavor of that whiskey, right?
Or the initial aging. Yeah, that barrel's going to do whatever, whether it's secondary or initial aging, it's going to lean one way or the other. Between sweet, smoky, spicy, I could put a vanilla barrel on you that would make a vanilla bomb out of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable what we can do with the barrel aging as far as our data goes.
Yeah. A lot of I'll call them first run distilleries, for lack of a better word, they'll say, and I know that this is true, is that they'll have the same mash bill, same distillation date, and it's one barrel sitting here and the next barrel sitting next to it, and they come up with completely different flavor profiles. Do you find that you see that in anything that you do, or is the attention that you put on the design of that barrel eliminate that variability somewhat?
Well, I think when you do char 4 barrels, which are going to get a little bit toasted because they're char 4, char 3 barrels, they're definitely going to have different flavor profiles when you put them in different parts of the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only thing that we're doing with our barrels is trying to get consistency. Mm-hmm. Now, if I have one of my barrels at the top of the warehouse, at the bottom of the warehouse, it's going to be different. Don't get me wrong, but it's still going to have our flavor profiles. Mm-hmm. So, all in all, our barrels are more consistent than what's out there in the market. And yes, you could put it in the top of the warehouse, bottom of the warehouse, you're still going to get variations of how it ages, of how it interacts with the barrel. But that's what I'm talking about, how it interacts with the barrel, because that's the whole deal. Whether it's at the top, the bottom, where it's getting its influences from the barrel.
Yeah.
So it's going to react more at the top, less at the bottom, less in the middle, more on the outside of the warehouse. Yeah. But we are working on consistency.
Yeah. Is there a favorite product? Favorite Buzzard Roost product?
When people ask me that, I always tend to lean towards the barrel strength bourbon. Mm-hmm. I feel like it is the product that most consistently goes against what we want to do. So it is a product that, is 115 to 118 proof, around that area, but it drinks so much smoother than 115 proof. So it drinks, way less than that, but it has a ton of flavor with it. Because you can drink some barrel strength products that are just they just blow you out of the water, and you can't taste anything but the ethanol that's in that product.
Right.
But I think we do such a great job of balancing our barrel strength products between heat and flavor that you can just enjoy it so much more. So I think the barrel strength bourbon or barrel strength rye is just such a phenomenal product.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason, do you have a favorite? Is it like asking you to pick your favorite
Yeah,
child?
absolutely. And there is a favorite child. It depends what week it is.
Yeah, I understand that.
You know. No, but it just depends what day it is. I mean, what I'm doing, and I mean, Kevin, we have kind of a broad range of products, and I, like I said, when I go to do tastings on the road, everyone doesn't say I love that product.
Mhm.
It's all across the board. So I think we're doing our job by saying that we adhere to or appeal to a bunch of different palates.
Yeah.
So it just depends what I'm doing. Sometimes I like a little bit of that barrel strength rye. To me is money in the bank, and
Yeah.
that I hated rye, right?
Yeah.
Before I started the company.
Yeah.
But then there's days when I love the Char One bourbon. It's nuts. So there's something a little bit different about every one of them that I really enjoy, and
Yeah.
I think that people can find and associate to.
Yeah. That's a very political answer. But
we keep politics out of it.
the barrel strength rye was initially when it first came out. That was another one that I hid for myself for a long time, and I nursed that thing for a while because it was glorious. It was just so good. But I do lean towards these toasted barrel ryes.
The toasted barrel,
It's just so good. And
yeah, it is.
Kevin, the KBF, we've got a toasted rye at barrel strength that I think you'd love.
Yeah, I got one from last year.
Asked for. That's what you've always asked for.
I have always asked for that.
Last year's was good, but this year's is even better.
Well,
the barrel strength bourbon is phenomenal, and then we have the barrel strength rye. I'm not a rye guy, but our barrel strength rye for the single barrel at KBF was better than the bourbon, I think.
Yeah. Well, again, I've not had anything yet that I haven't fallen in love with that you guys have done. So what's next? What's new? What can we expect coming up soon?
I don't know. We've got a few things in the works, and I've been talking with the Independent Stave about this. So, some pretty, I don't know, off the wall stuff. We'll see what happens. And it's not, it's traditional, but it's, I don't know.
Well,
it's hard. I can't really say right now, but we've got some really cool stuff coming, and we're doing some just some research about it right now.
Yeah.
And whether we want to pull that product or not, but I think we've got two cool products in the making. But we're just trying to grow our brand right now of what we have, and I think we have a lot. We have. I mean, we've got a lot of SKUs in the business, and we're trying to trim some of it back, and then the LTOs are coming, like the bottled in bond and the American whiskey. So we're really trying to support that now. So we're kind of putting what we've got on the back burner for now. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of barrels at your disposal that have been used once, and the American whiskey is a great way to utilize some of that barrel inventory. But you could do a lot of things with that. You could put a brandy in there. You could put an agave spirit in there. Tequila aged in a Buzzard Roost barrel would be pretty cool.
Well, and we'll do that. Maybe we'll look at collaborations with another company, but I don't think we as Buzzard Roost will do that. We're focused on bourbon. Now, I would love to have a side company of where we command where our barrels go,
Mm-hmm.
to where what you're talking about, to where they can age tequila, they can age wine or hot sauce or whatever they want to do
Yeah.
in our barrels, and beer especially.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have an arm of our business where our barrels go.
Yeah.
But now they're just kind of mass sold off. But right now, Kevin, I mean, we're just focused on making the best bourbon and rye whiskey on the planet. So we'll see what happens.
You're doing a good job of it. Doing a good job of it.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I've kept you guys for a while now, so we'll start bringing things into a landing. But before we do that, Ethan, you want to tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at Spalding 19 on Instagram.
Yep.
Ethan Spalding on Facebook. Everywhere else, I'm kind of absent besides Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
If you want to find me on Buzzard Roost Instagram or Facebook, you can more than likely find me on there. Especially with this Rose Awards, you can find me on there. I've shared that on my Instagram. I know, Kevin, you shared that on your Instagram as well,
Mm-hmm.
or commented on that at least. So I really appreciate that. October 10th through October 18th, we can vote on me to win the Rose Award for the Spirits category on Instagram or wherever you can find that. So that's really appreciative. Other than that,
vote like a dead Chicago Democrat early and often.
Early and often. There you
go. Jason, where are you on social media?
I'm on Instagram as the Bluegrass Bourbon Baron.
Yeah.
And then TikTok, which they don't like me to talk about, I'm the Bourbon Redneck still.
Yes. Yeah, you got all corporate on us on Instagram.
Yeah, right. But then the rest of Buzzard Roost, I'm not on Facebook, but you can find Buzzard Roost on all the platforms, Facebook and Instagram.
That sideways pour is one of the most perfect pours I've ever seen in my life.
I love that pour.
Oh, it was finishing off another bottle of the toasted barrel.
It's almost like osmosis.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, for our show, you can find us on YouTube. If you're watching there now, please subscribe. We would love for you to join us every week so you don't miss out on great shows like this. If you like to listen to your content rather than watch, although, look at these lovely gentlemen.
Hey,
why would you not want to watch?
Look at Jason.
See this. Why would
Face made for radio.
Face made for radio. There we go.
All right. Well, we've got Face made for podcasts too, so you can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or Google. We have a Facebook page where we post all of our shows, including this one. We have a Facebook group where we'll post what we're drinking, which is a lot of times is Buzzard Roost. It really is. I kind of scroll through my social media sometimes, see what I'm posting about. There's a lot of Buzzard Roost in there, and there's a lot of music being listened to while I'm drinking some Buzzard Roost.
That's right.
Sip a while.
Well, hopefully look for Opie's Tackle Box or
Opie's Tackle Box or the Stillwoods. I'll push them out.
Jamming.
Yeah. So look for Opie's Tackle Box or the Opies or the Opies remastered or Tackle Box or some remastered some rendition of that. You'll hopefully see that soon. So stay tuned and we'll have that for you. And just can't wait to see that act live. But Ethan and Jason, thank you very much for coming on. Congratulations on all your success as always.
Thanks, Kevin.
Look forward to coming and seeing y'all again. And until next time, on behalf of Ethan and Jason, cheers, love, and free bird.
Free bird.
Thank you.